today. The true story of an American legend.
There is no black and white on this.
Hear the real tale of Pocahontas.
She fell in love and asked for it. Not so much.
And the unsung hero that's forgotten by the history books.
And they don't know the true way. We need to show them this.
On today's 700 Club.
Well, welcome to the 700 Club. While sporadic protests are swirling around the country, the president-elect, Donald Trump, is making his top priorities clear as he gets ready to become president. Cutting taxes, improving the health care system, and dealing with illegal immigration.
Well, Trump also signaled that he's standing firm on his positions on abortion and the Supreme Court, and he's named two of his key White House appointments. Gary Lane has the story.
Trump made the important announcement Sunday that Reince Priebus will become his chief of staff and Stephen Bannon senior counselor and top White House strategist. Priebus is the chairman of the Republican National Committee, a key Washington insider. By contrast, Bannon is an anti-establishment conservative, the former head of Breitbart News. Strange bedfellows? Trump released a statement saying, "Steve and Reince are highly qualified leaders who worked together on our campaign and led us to a historic victory. Now I will have them both with me in the White House as we work to make America great again." Also on Sunday, more anti-Trump protests. This time, immigrants rallied outside the Trump Tower. On 60 Minutes, Trump was asked about immigration and his pledge to deport those here illegally. He said first he'll focus on criminal illegals and then others.
After the border is secured and after everything gets normalized, we're going to make a determination on the people that you're talking about, who are terrific people. They're terrific people.
Trump had a word for the frightened protesters.
Don't be afraid. We are going to bring our country back.
And what about those committing acts of violence against minorities?
They're harassing Latinos, Muslims.
I am so saddened to hear that, and I say stop it. If it helps, I will say this, and I'll say it right to the camera, stop it.
While Trump has indicated a willingness to talk about some changes to some of his campaign pledges, he's standing firm on judicial and Supreme Court appointments.
I'm pro-life. The judges will be pro-life.
Trump's campaign speeches were often interrupted with chants of "lock her up." Some rally attendees wanted Trump opponent Hillary Clinton jailed over her email and Clinton Foundation scandals. Trump pledged on the campaign trail to appoint a special prosecutor to investigate. But when asked about that, he said he wants to focus on his top priorities first.
I'm going to think about it. I feel that I want to focus on jobs. I want to focus on health care. I want to focus on the border and immigration and doing a really great immigration bill. We want to have a great immigration bill. And I want to focus on all of these other things that we've been talking about and get the country straightened away.
You called her crooked Hillary, said you wanted to get in jail. Your people in your audiences kept saying, lock him up.
Yeah. Well, she did some bad things. I mean, she did some bad things. I know, but a special prosecutor? I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to hurt them. They're good people.
The president-elect said he'll have a more definitive answer later. More announcements on some important cabinet positions could come later this week. Vice President-elect Mike Pence is now heading up the transition effort. He's covering job vetting and decisions affecting more than 4,000 executive branch positions. Gary Lane, CBN News.
Well, whether they like it or not, this election was a referendum on the 8 years of the Obama presidency. And the people didn't like the Obamacare. They didn't like what's happened to our foreign policy. They didn't like all the regulations that have been put in place, and they didn't like the stagnant growth. They just didn't like it. Americans are used to winning. And we've been told, well, this is the new normal, is to lose. And so whatever they want to say about this, that, and the other, what was caused by this, it was caused by the fact that the American people wanted a change. And they wanted a more robust domestic policy and a more robust foreign policy. But now, after losing a number of governor's seats, after losing a tremendous number of legislative seats, after losing the presidency, the Democrats are now trying to figure a plan for their future. So our Wendy Griffith went to find out. Wendy.
Thanks, Pat. Well, many Democrats are pushing for a serious change in the party's positions on its policies. They want grassroots organizing to focus more on their base and winning back those white working class voters who went for Donald Trump.
We have to do a lot of rethinking. Democrats have focused too much with a liberal elite, which is raising incredible sums of money from wealthy people.
Now, Democrats have to choose a new leader of the party's national committee. One leading candidate is Muslim Congressman Keith Ellison of Minnesota, but others are looking to get into the race as well. Some liberals are pushing the party to move even more to the left as Bernie Sanders. Democrats lost the White House along with the House and Senate under President Obama, along with governorships and state legislatures. Well, more strong aftershocks in New Zealand after a 7.8 magnitude earthquake struck the country Sunday. Tourists and residents in the area were stunned.
The earthquake last night was just so devastating and shocking. It knocked me out of bed. Things fell in the room that I was staying in. The hotel that I was staying in is now, condemned. I can't return.
The whole bed just sort of jumped out from the wall, and these doors just literally buckled and just opened and swayed back and forth, back and forth.
Wow, look at that. Officials say at least 2 people have died. The quake caused damage in the capital of Wellington, even generating a small tsunami. New Zealand is sending military helicopters and a Navy ship to rescue about 1,000 tourists and hundreds of residents that are stranded in one coastal town after the quake cut off train and vehicle access. Pat, such a beautiful island. I hate to see that happen there.
It is, Wendy, that's the so-called Ring of Fire. And once that thing, the Pacific plates meet with the various coastal plates, the North American plate, et cetera, you see that Ring of Fire, and New Zealand is right down at the bottom of it. So Indonesia and Japan, and then coming over to our coast, and then down to South America. And this is a very volatile seismic area. And once it starts moving, I dare say you'll find other earthquakes taking place, and it will be painful for people. I looked up at the sky last night, and the moon was so bright it was like the sun. And Wendy, tell us about it.
It is wonderful to see this. The brightest moon in almost 69 years, Pat, is lighting up the sky this week. It's called a supermoon, and you can get it. You can see it here in the video. It's 14% bigger and 30% brighter than a normal full moon. The reason, the moon's orbit is bringing it closer to Earth than any time since 1948. And in 18 years, it will be even closer, with the next supermoon occurring in 2034. And Pat, so you were out there taking a look at it last night.
I looked at it, but it was so bright I had a hard time. I wasn't wearing dark glasses, at 8 o'clock at night. But there that beauty was, and it's a gorgeous thing. The thing about it we've got to remember, it's like God's provision. If that moon wasn't there, this planet we're on would be teetering back and forth all the time. That keeps us in a stable orbit and a stable rotation. And apparently, this planet was hit by Mars, I believe, or some similar planet, and the moon was ejected as a part of that mass. It formed its own planet, but it's God's plan to look after us on this Earth. This is a very special planet, and when you look up at that moon, you can thank God that it's there. Terry?
It really is beautiful. Well, coming up, how your diet is killing your brain. Find out what you need to eat and what you need to avoid. That's next.
Coming up, 2 empires at war.
He fights him when he has to.
And one girl who brought them peace.
We're coming back to the full circle of time.
Hear the story of the real Pocahontas.
We were taught that she betrayed her people.
And history buffs play trivia during today's airing, and you could win a free Pocahontas DVD. Go to facebook.com/700club right now.
Well, you're watching the 700 Club. Delighted to have you with us. In the next 18 minutes, 4 Americans will die from the foods they eat. 4. A poor diet can lead to just about every health problem you can think of. You probably know that sugar and processed foods are bad, but you may be surprised to learn that some of the healthiest foods, the ones that cultivate good bacteria in your gut. Take a look.
For years, we thought all bacteria was bad. Now we know the opposite is true. Most of the bacteria in our gut is very good. In fact, we desperately need it to keep our entire body in tip-top shape. The problem is, most of us are sorely lacking in good bacteria. Taking too many antibiotics, eating junk food, and even using antibacterial cleansers can destroy our good bacteria and lead to all kinds of health problems, even brain disorders like Alzheimer's. But Dr. David Perlmutter says we can reverse course. In his new book, The Grain Brain Whole Life Plan, he lays out a simple plan to replace the good bacteria we're missing and lose weight to boot.
Well, we want to keep you healthy, and urologist and author David Perlmutter is joining us again. He's got a new book. It's called The Grain Brain, The Whole Life Plan. And it can keep you alive. Doctor, it's good to have you with us.
It's good to be back.
Thank you. All right, just some of the people don't think about the gut. I mean, you talk about the gut. It's kind of unpleasant to talk about. But there's stuff going on in your gut that can bring about disease of all kinds. What are some of the diseases that people can get on account of the wrong stuff in their gut?
Well, the World Health Organization has told us that the #1 cause of death globally now are what we call chronic degenerative conditions, Alzheimer's, diabetes, and even cancer, not infectious issues that used to plague the world. And it turns out that the mechanism that leads to these issues is inflammation. Inflammation begins in the gut and spreads throughout the entire body. And it's based upon the food that we eat. You know, the big surprise is things like artificial sweetened beverages, for example, are dramatically involved in inflammation, lead to things like diabetes and obesity. No sugar.
You mean the sweet and lows and all that stuff?
Whatever the color packet you think you want to put in your coffee in the morning is damaging your gut bacteria, and now that looks like it's even worse for you than drinking sugar.
Well, what will it do? You know, all right, let's say I want my gut to be happy and healthy. What have I got to do to keep it happy?
You know, you and I have talked about this before, and it's favoring foods that are what we call fermented, foods that have good bacteria in them, but also making sure to nurture these foods with foods that we call prebiotic fiber, garlic, onions, leeks, jicama, which is Mexican yam, my favorite, which is dandelion greens. That gives your gut bacteria the nutrients that they need. And we've got to welcome fat back to the table. All these years of no fat and low fat, this and that, your brain is desperate for good fat. Not, you know, the modified fats, but you've got to have good fat in your diet. Who knew?
Well, tell me what a good fat is again.
Well, things like the monounsaturated fats, like you'll find in olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, as you talked about with Dr. Dale Bredesen, really fundamentally important to power up the brain. And it's all about, you know, looking at things now through the lens of the gut bacteria. We all grew up in a time when bacteria were germs and we had to get rid of every bacterium because it was a threat to us. Now, we know that our life depends on the health of the 100 trillion organisms that are within us making our neurotransmitters.
Let's get that number again. 100 trillion little things down in my gut.
You know, last time I was kidding with you, saying you're more bacteria than you are Pat Robertson. That's right. I got a lot of laughs on that one.
That's right.
But, you know, I think when you look at what are the fundamentals for brain health, I'd say it's welcoming fat back to the table, nurturing your gut bacteria, and as I talk about in the book, gratitude. I think gratitude is a really under-recognized important player in general health as well, and certainly brain health.
Well, you know, if you go to the dentist, almost invariably they'll give you a course of antibiotics, a couple of weeks worth of it. It was pretty much standard stuff to give kids antibiotics. They have a cold, they sniffle, and they passed out those pills. What does that do to the gut?
Well, I'm thinking of Nancy Reagan right now. What did she say? Just say no.
Yeah. Okay.
grossly abuse antibiotics. There's a time and a place for an antibiotic. They are life-saving. But the World Health Organization, again, called that one of the top 3 health threats in the world, and that is overusage of antibiotics. There's no rationality for giving antibiotics when you have a cold caused by a virus. It's like having your appendix taken out when your gallbladder is inflamed. It's the wrong approach. And we now recognize that one course of antibiotics will alter your gut bacteria permanently. In other words, for the rest of your life.
Come on. Well, now, there's nobody in this audience that hadn't taken antibiotics.
Yours truly included.
Yeah.
But I think the message here is, moving forward now with the knowledge that we have to question the wisdom of, you have a cold and you've got some big event coming up, going to the walk-in clinic and hoping that you're going to walk out with a prescription for an antibiotic. That doesn't make sense. You have a virus and you're asking the doctor for an antibacterial. There's a big disconnect there, and it's not a free ride. Changing your gut bacteria increases inflammation, and inflammation is the cornerstone of brain degeneration.
Well, there are these little pills that call themselves probiotics. Are they good to take, or?
These days, we're seeing some very powerful probiotics. And strangely, on the plane ride to see you today, I was reviewing an article that came out from Iranian researchers who demonstrated reversal of symptoms of Alzheimer's using probiotics. So I think probiotics are very, very important for health.
But the prebiotics you're talking about would be what?
Well, prebiotic foods are things that are going to, again, nurture the gut bacteria. Again, the garlic, onions, and leeks. But you can go to your health food store and buy powdered prebiotic fiber. And one of the best is derived from what's called acacia gum. That's that tall tree that you see in Africa, and the giraffes are taking shade underneath it. That secretes a gum that is now commercially used. You can buy it in the health food store to really amplify the growth of good bacteria. Think of this conversation that we're having right now. We're focused on the gut bacteria. I'm a brain specialist, and it really, it's a new leap. It's a new lens that we look through to understand health.
It hasn't been very long that this has surfaced in medicine. Has it been a recent development?
Well, 90% of the peer-reviewed research on the microbiome, the gut bacteria, has only been published in the last 5 years. So this is very, very new research. I was here talking to you 15 years ago, and we had a very, very different conversation. It was all about limiting dietary fat. And so I think it's important that we stay current, we stay up with the research, but again, getting back to fat and fiber, and at the same time, it's not good enough just to eat more fat, but at the same time, you've got to cut down on the sugar. And more importantly, you got to get rid of the pink packet and the blue packet and those artificial sweeteners and the diet drinks. Those damage the gut bacteria and dramatically increase your risk for developing diabetes. Why am I so focused on that? Because if you become a type 2 diabetic, you have quadrupled your risk for Alzheimer's, which is a disease that we don't have a treatment for right now.
It's amazing. Well, there's so many people, for example, on these diet drinks. They sell millions and millions of cases of those things. What can be done to stop it? If the government intervened in anything, they ought to stop that.
I sure am not in a political mood right now. That said, I think that's our mission. Our mission. The word doctor means teacher. And that's why you and I are doing what we do, because, we learn as much as we can and we do our best to get that information out. And hopefully people are going to hear this message.
Well, the big deal also is the companies, the pharmaceutical companies have made a fortune on the statins, and the whole thing was on my cholesterol is down. Well, cholesterol is a type of fat that's in your brain. Is that a big deal? Are statins good or bad, or what do you say, man?
I'm not going to say good or bad. I mean, sure, there is a place to use statins. I think they're incredibly overused. I think their effect upon the brain has been understated, but the FDA now requires statins to carry a label indicating that they can compromise your memory. And it makes sense. When you lower your cholesterol, which is a vital brain nutrient, there's going to be consequences. So, you know, there was a time when we were told we shouldn't eat eggs. Why? Because they have the dreaded cholesterol in them. And to this day, you go to a restaurant, you look at the menu, there are still egg white omelets because they get rid of the egg yolk because that's where the dreaded cholesterol is. Eggs are good for your brain, they're good for your heart, and good for your body.
But the FDA is not putting a warning label on statin drugs.
That's right, because plenty of studies have demonstrated that these drugs can immediately affect how clearly a person is able to think. And again, we need cholesterol in the brain. One recent study came out showed that those people who had the lowest cholesterol had the highest risk for dementia. So, you know, the argument, well, is it good for your heart or bad for your heart? What if your brain isn't working? That's not necessarily a good thing.
Man, well, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, this book is called The Green Brain Whole Life Plan, Dr. Perlmutter. This can save your life, and you can get it wherever books are sold, and it's a pleasure to have Dr. Perlmutter back here with us again. He may be saving your life. Listen to what the man has to say. Thanks so much for being with us.
Really great to see you again.
God bless you. All right, Terry.
Going to buy the book. Well, up next, the Native American hero who's not just a Disney princess.
They made her like a cartoon character, like she might have been some kind of legend or something that didn't really exist.
Separate the fact from the fiction on the life of Pocahontas. That's next.
Boy, in the crush of the election, you may have lost track of the fact that Thanksgiving is coming up.
Around the corner.
Around the corner.
Yes.
And then right after that, Christmas. And you see some Christmas lights and you say, what is all this? So how come you're talking Christmas? We just had an election. Well, okay. Well, this is in the mail right now. It's a very beautiful packet from CBN with the bounties of Thanksgiving showed for you. And the thing that I want to point out, I've said before, some years ago, I began to think of the Thanksgiving that we were going to have at our house. And we would have a nice turkey and pumpkin pie and all that stuff. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do this for me, how can I show my gratitude to the Lord for his blessing? And I decided I would ask my wife how much we were going to spend on Thanksgiving dinner. And I would write a check for that amount to CBN, you know, disaster relief and their hunger thing. And so we gave that, and then CBN would take the money and go out, and it would be multiplied 3 or 4 times by the fact we could get gifts of food and so forth. And we helped a lot of people. So that's still in place. And you get this, and if you want to help the poor and the needy and make somebody happy at holiday, this is the way to do it. So this is going out CBN Center, Virginia Beach, Virginia, the CBN Thanksgiving. Hey, we've got a movie coming up. I don't know too much about it because I wasn't in it.
Well, I hear it's wonderful, and I haven't seen the full thing yet. But
were you in it? Were you playing one of those?
I wasn't in it.
Those early Redskins, whatever.
No, though I come from Indian country. But
okay.
no.
Right.
Well, in the early 1600s, the English arrived on shores not too far from our studios. They met a thriving tribe of Native Americans who had lived there for centuries. Before long, war broke out, centered around a young girl. Her name was Matoaka, but we've come to know her better as Pocahontas. Here's her story.
She fascinates generations of people across the globe. Disney's portrayal of her captured imaginations. But who was Pocahontas?
She's a mystery. She's made out of English words which have their purposes, and there's almost no neutral Pocahontas.
There is no black and white on this. You know, there's a whole lot of gray, a million shades of gray.
Pocahontas didn't write anything down. There was no written language of her people. So everything we know of Pocahontas comes to us through the observations of Englishmen.
One has to try and find out more than just the Disney version.
They made her like a cartoon character, like she might have been some kind of legend or something that didn't really exist.
She was an essential part of the Powhatan Confederacy.
We were taught that she betrayed her people.
And what about John Smith?
Smith, he's pretty quick to publicize himself.
John Smith is probably the person who is most involved in creating the Pocahontas of legend. It's hard to tell the legend from the truth in his writings.
John Smith wrote that Pocahontas rescued him during captivity and saved his life, a claim doubted by many scholars.
He has 3 accounts of his time in Jamestown and his captivity there, and it's only in the 3rd time of writing, 1624, that he talks about her as the person who rescued him.
Legend says, she was Powhatan's favorite daughter. That's why he saved John Smith, because she fell in love and asked for it. Not so much.
I believe that was a part of the Powhatan adoption ceremony.
The rescue is, I think, improbable, but of course there's only one person who wrote anything down. There's only one witness, and that's John Smith. In real life, she married John Rolfe. In the legend, she will forever be in love with John Smith, because John Smith told us so.
Pocahontas isn't a myth, but why is her story relevant to us today?
We have something in the Native culture called full circle. So as if you plant a seed, it comes to full maturity. And that's how I feel time has begun here. We're coming back to the full circle of time.
This is a story about Pocahontas and a man who changed her life forever. But his name isn't John, it's Alexander. In the early years of the Jamestown settlement, the colonists set up trade with the Algonquin Indians and their chief, Powhatan. Powhatan's territory extended hundreds of miles.
They really landed right in the middle of Powhatan's empire.
When the English came here, they used their points of reference in the way that they had government structured, so they called him a king, but he was really a high chief. And he had about 32 tribes, we think. And there was a werewants over each one of them, or a werewant squaw man, and they would be like advisors to him. So it was really pretty representative of kind of like what we have today.
In his negotiations with the English, it's likely that Powhatan saw opportunity.
He wanted the metal tools, the arms. He didn't have any of those things. Could have revolutionized life in Powhatan. So he adopted them in like he would have any other tribe, so that he would have access to those resources, because it would strengthen his political position in the state.
Ungapo, hello. Ungapo. Corn, we need the corn.
The settlers were dependent on the natives for food, but also wanted Powhatan and his people to come under their control.
The colony was struggling. It's the story of all the English colonies. They couldn't take hold, they couldn't live, they couldn't feed themselves.
In 1611, after several years of conflict, Alexander Whitaker arrived in the midst of this turmoil. The Anglican minister left a comfortable life in England to come to the New World.
He was a young man, very, very well educated, comes from a long family of scholars. Uncle Lawrence was a noted Anglo-Saxon scholar. Uncle Alexander, besides being a great fisherman, is also the accidental inventor of bottled beer. But yeah, very well-educated family, very well-educated young man, went to Eton, went to Cambridge. This is the man who's coming over here. He's going to have church twice a day, 3 times on Sunday. Sunday's when he's going to preach his sermon. But morning and evening, he will have a service here, and everyone will attend. That is the law.
Alexander Whitaker's concern was conversion of the Native Americans, as well as pastoring the English that were there and reproving them for their failure to live up to the gospel when they didn't.
When we look at Whitaker, we see not John Calvin. We don't see Calvin thumping on his pulpit, screaming about, fire and brimstone coming down. We see more Billy Graham, who is reasoning. He's saying, look, this is what we believe, this is why we believe it.
He recognized that the Native Americans in Virginia are not a whole lot different than the English were back before they knew Christianity, when England was essentially a conglomeration of various tribes.
He's looking at them and saying, okay, they're like us. They're part of God's creation, and they don't know the true way. We need to show them this. We need to bring them into the right path.
In 1612, Whitaker wrote Good News from Virginia, a sermon he preached and then sent to the colony's sponsors in London. The sermon was based on a passage from Ecclesiastes 11. Cast your bread upon the waters, for after many days you will find it again. In spite of the colony's economic losses, the sermon moved the founders of the colony so much that they published it throughout England.
Jamestown was a commercial venture in the sense that people invested money in it, sort of like venture capitalists, expecting to get money back.
Wherefore, I do not marvel that there have been great discouragements and many adversaries at this plantation. For the devil, knowing that where Christ wins, he looseth.
Whitaker castigated the English who were investing only from a monetary standpoint. He said, we need colonists to come who will really live the Christian life and have a concern for being used of God as catalysts for the conversion of the Native Americans.
Whitaker's commitment to building good relations with the Native Americans was about to be tested.
The English didn't understand the codes of respect and honor that the Powhatans lived by. So when they would go in and take up land without asking, it was an affront to him and an insult. And so he retaliated. And that's when things started to turn, when they were taking land that he didn't give them. And he actually said, why take by force that which would be given you for the asking?
It fairly quickly broke down in some difficult situations, and there were people killed on both sides, hard feelings, and captives taken.
Chief Powhatan, he's as sharp as any European monarch. He's on the ball. He keeps the English off balance. He keeps them guessing. He allies with them when he wants to. He fights them when he has to.
At this time, the Native Americans, the Powhatan Indians, had a number of English in captivity and also some guns.
The colonists wanted to convince Powhatan to return the English hostages and weapons. A sea captain named Samuel Argall came up with a plan. He decided to kidnap the chief's favorite daughter and hold her for ransom.
Powhatan withdrew into his territories, and the English had to try and bring some pressure on him. And Samuel Argall, who was going up the river to the Patawomecs, who were a neighboring set of Indians, somewhat under the domination of Powhatan, but a bit independent as well. And he heard that Pocahontas was with the Patawomecs.
He was able to negotiate, to some degree under threat, what essentially was the betrayal of Pocahontas. It was a betrayal of the trust that she had in the English, and it was a betrayal on the part of her Native American friends also, who did trick her so that she would end up going on the ship and thus be kidnapped.
She really became this pawn in the middle of this life or death game that was taking place between these two groups of people who I think had good reason to deeply mistrust the motives of the other one.
Fascinating history. That was part 1 of our docudrama on Pocahontas. We'll have part 2 on tomorrow's show. If you've enjoyed it, go to cbn.com and you can order a DVD of the entire series for a gift of just $10. You can also get a copy by calling us at 1-800-700-7000. For more, go to facebook.com/700club for trivia questions and special features. But you want to go ahead and get your copy today. And I would imagine there'd be lots of schools that would like to have that information.
Yeah, that would be a very helpful thing,
well.
at this time of year to talk about. Well, we're at the place where history began for our world, and the Interior Department put up a plaque at Cape Henry. It said, Act 1, Scene 1 of the unfolding drama became the United States of America. So here's where it started.
Exactly.
Okay, we got an interesting guest.
Well, we do. Still ahead, she's the daughter of Marilyn Hickey, and now she's trying to rescue poor children from around the world. Sarah Bowling joins us live when we return.
And welcome back to the 700 Club. A man riding on a motorbike firebombed a church on the island of Borneo in Indonesia Sunday. The man was captured. TV footage showed him wearing a black shirt with the words "Jihad, way of life." The explosion injured 4 children aged 2 to 4. They suffered from burn injuries. It was the second explosion at a church this year in Indonesia, which has the world's highest population of Muslims. CBN Israel is helping single mothers and children in the Holy Land. The CBN staff recently held 6 dinners throughout Israel. The dinners included good food, of course, fellowship, worship, and family counseling. Food vouchers were also given to single moms for the holiday season so they can celebrate the Jewish New Year known as Rosh Hashanah. CBN Israel also blessed one woman who needed serious help with financial planning and basic household needs. And you can find out more about what CBN is doing around the world by going to cbn.com/international. Pat and Terry will be right back with more of the 700 Club right after this.
From a nation with the highest population of sex workers to another torn apart by 40 years of civil war, Sarah Bowling is at work trying to meet the needs of those who need it most. Here's her story.
Sarah Bowling is the daughter of world-renowned Bible teacher Marilyn Hickey. Their daily television program, Today with Marilyn and Sarah, is broadcast in 130 countries. Sarah is also the founder of Saving Moses, a global missions organization committed to reducing infant deaths. Saving Moses provides nutrition clinics in Africa and a facility in Asia that allows young children to stay safe and off the streets at night.
Sarah Bowling is with us now, and Sarah, we welcome you to the show this morning.
Thank you.
How did you get started with this? What was it that initially touched your heart so deeply?
I was in an orphanage in Ethiopia, and I learned of these newborn baby girls, twins, Sarah and Ruth. They were abandoned on a field, and the orphanages had said, we don't have the resources to take care of these babies. And so this one that I was staying in said, well, we'll take them, because the police said we have to put the babies back on the field. And I was like, that's insane. So I went to visit these babies. They'd only been there, a couple days, maybe a week. And it just unraveled me. My daughter was with me at the time. She was about 9 years old. And I was like, it just completely unraveled me. So from that time on, and Jesus says, for the least of these.
So they would have actually put those babies back in the field?
I know. And that, I just was like, that. I thought I can't get my head around that.
Yeah, it is hard to wrap your brain around that.
Totally.
So why the problem with there are orphanages, but what was the dilemma you saw?
Sure, and what happens is the resources that most orphanages have, they use to, as many people, babies as they, not babies, but kids as they can.
Yes.
So babies and toddlers take the most resources. Right, so and you think about it, a baby requires the most care, the most immediate. So what orphanages are forced to do is take the resources that they have to meet the most needs that they can. And so consequently, they don't meet babies, and they're not wired up for that as much.
It's a wonder that as many children survive as do, isn't it?
Sure, it totally is.
Yeah, quite a miracle. You're in several countries with Saving Moses now, the name of your organization, based on the biblical story of Moses.
Yes.
Here he was also left not in a field, but in a river.
Right.
And rescued and grew up to lead a nation. I mean, is that part of the vision for you?
So I think what happens, and the Holy Spirit gave me this title, Saving Moses, and Moses was about 3 months old in the Nile River when Pharaoh's daughter collected him, right? Yeah. But if you fast forward and you think all the things that God did through Moses, the Pentateuch, the Ten Commandments, the Red Sea, pick something. Yeah. But all of that was hanging by a thread when he was 3 months old. And that's what I felt the Holy Spirit say to me. Sarah, you have no idea what the potential is for each and every baby. Yeah. You have no clue. So let's help the least of these and see what happens in the future.
So where did you, once you saw this need and you began the work that you're so involved in today, you wound up going to Cambodia as one of the countries that you work in. Some specific needs there that some people might find difficult to comprehend, but you've seen it firsthand. Talk about that.
So we do what we call night care. And in America, we have day care for moms who work, in the day. But at nighttime in Cambodia, particularly very, very poor countries, these moms have no other way to earn an income than through prostitution. Yeah. And so what happens is these babies are at work with their moms. So some of them are even on the bed as mom is serving a client.
Literally with their moms.
Exactly. Yeah. Or they're chained under the bed, or they're left abandoned, because the moms don't have the resources to take care of these babies. And this is why they're in the industry in the first place.
Somebody's got to feed those babies. Exactly.
And so we have what we call night care. So we have 4 night care centers in Cambodia. We'll open our 5th in the next couple of months.
Wow.
Going to Bangladesh in January to open night care there.
And what does the night care center look like, Sarah?
Yeah, so wonderful. Oh my goodness. So a mom will bring her baby to us between around 6 o'clock at night before she goes to work. She comes, we get the little babies, and we have houses that we rent. And we have 4 babies per worker. So we give them a bath, we give them dinner, we have circle time, we get to teach them the ABCs, in Khmer language. And then we do some stuff, the cross before me, the world. So we do some fun stuff with them. And then we put them down and go to sleep. And then the moms collect them in the morning when they're done working. So when we give the baby back to mom, the baby's clean, rested, well fed. The clothes are clean that they brought in. So it's really helping to the least of these, and there's no more least of the least than the baby of a prostitute.
Well, and I have to think that when a woman who has been forced into prostitution by her material needs, just daily physical needs, sees all of this, that her heart is open to the message herself.
Exactly. And there's all kinds of resources for these women, for the moms, but there's not one organization devoted to these babies. Yeah. And so when you reach a mom's heart, the way to her heart, of course, is through her baby.
Absolutely. So. You're also in Angola. Boy, that's a country that has seen so much strife and unrest. Yeah. What's happening there?
So we have malnutrition centers in Angola. We have 6 malnutrition centers, and we really get to minister to the immediate physical needs, because most of these babies without malnutrition formula, they'll literally starve to death.
Yeah. How awful.
Yeah, and so you see that and the life-giving difference that we get to make there every single day.
Yeah.
That's a tough place to go.
And Afghanistan as well. That's a part of the world that we hear so much about that's negative, but you're doing something very positive.
Exactly. Curse the darkness or light a candle. Yep. And I'd rather light the candle, right?
Amen.
So we go into rural Afghanistan and give training for healthy deliveries. We also immunize the infants and stuff because they don't have resources like that.
And so in a culture like that, so often women are forced to stay in their homes. So they're giving birth in unsanitary scenarios, not knowing what they're doing.
Exactly.
I mean, if the baby survives, it's a miracle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And if the mom survives, it's good,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
totally.
Exactly. The life of the mom as well. How can people help? What are your needs?
So Saving Moses, our care is where the need is most urgent and the care is least available, and for babies 0 to 5. So we have a website. It's a great place to kind of look and see what we get to do. I take teams with me every July.
You get to hold babies. How
Yes.
fun is that?
Yes, yes, oh my goodness, and play and have fun. And so
Yeah.
all kinds of ways to get involved.
Yeah. Investing yourself in the next generation around the world. Well, Sarah, thank you for being with us. I want you to know you can learn more about Sarah's work in Saving Moses by going to cbn.com. It's all right there, and we hope you'll do that. Great effort, Sarah.
Thank you.
Well, coming up, Pat's getting ready for another round of Bring It On. Joanne says, someone at my church is pregnant out of wedlock and our pastor doesn't seem bothered by it. Is it okay for someone else to talk to her? Your questions are next, so don't go away. Well, we have some time left today, and we want to take some of the questions that you've sent in via email and bring it on. Pat, this first one comes from Joanne, who says, a lady from my church is expecting a baby, and her Christian boyfriend lives with her. Everyone, including the pastor, acts like everything is cool. Her 10-year-old daughter, who was born out of wedlock with a different father, is in my kid's church class, and I just wonder what she thinks about her mom's current, quote, situation. I know she knows it's wrong. What kind of message is it sending to her? No one will address the situation on the pastoral staff. Is it okay for someone else to address this?
Well, I think definitely. You know, the old days, the Hawthorne's Scarlet Letter, the lady who was branded, she had sex outside of marriage, and they put a scarlet A, on her. So it was the fallen woman and all this kind of thing. I think, to love somebody like this is fine, but the truth is she's sleeping around, whether you like it or not, and she's having more than one child out of wedlock, and that is not a cool situation. And somebody needs to go to her and lead her to the Lord and say, look, you've got to clean up your act. We're not judging you. We're not trying to condemn you. God loves you and all that sort of thing. But nevertheless, you can't keep having these babies. If you love this guy you're living with, then by all means get married to him. But we'll facilitate that. But somebody's got to help her. Somebody has got to counsel with her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want, it seems like that would need to come from someone in a position.
Well, the pastors, that's what he gets paid for heaven's sakes. I can't understand that. All right.
Okay, this is Sonia, who says, there is a person that goes to my church who's always asking for rides. They never ask if they can help with gas, and they never say thank you when someone helps them. This person quit their job on a crazy whim, and then they say God told them to quit, and now they're unemployed. This person makes me angry. I think they're taking advantage of people, but I'd also never want to deny someone going to church. What's the best way to respond in this situation?
The Bible says if anybody won't work, let him not eat. I mean, it's kind of tough. The Bible isn't a feel-good, repository for deadbeats. And I think there's some of these so-called gospel bums who, God told me to go off and, quit my job, and then I'm going to live off you. But taking somebody to church, what's such a big deal about that? You got an empty place in your car, so
you're going anyway, right?
You're going anyway. Yeah, it's not exactly an imposition. Yeah. All right.
Okay, this is Tina, who says, my life has been such a mess. I work so hard and so many things stand in my way. Why can't things get better? I do not live like a saint, but I treat others with kindness.
Well, look, the Bible says, and this is, a man shall eat good by the fruit of his lips. I want to say it again. A man will eat good by the fruit of his lips. You must speak the truth of what you're going to see. This positive mental attitude is not just mind over matter. It's the real deal. And you have to believe that what you're going to have is success. And you need to act it out that you're going to be successful and have success, and that what you touch and what you do is going to be blessed. So you're confessing what God himself has already said. So I recommend that you get into the Bible, into the Word of God, you learn it and let it be in your heart, and then speak forth what it says. Instead of speaking negatively, why can't I succeed? Why is everything against me? Why does the world hate me? All that stuff. Mm-hmm. Pull out of that funk and begin to, declare victory.
Okay, this is Elizabeth, who says, if it was God himself who came down to earth, why does the Bible claim many times that God sent his only begotten Son, Jesus Christ, who eventually died for us? Which one came down to earth and died on the cross?
Well, the Son of God is God himself. I mean, there's a Trinity, but God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. So in a sense, God sent his only Son, and he is the Son of God, but at the same time, he is very God and very man. So it's perhaps a little confusing, but that's the way it worked. Well, we leave you with today's Power Minute from Psalm 29. The Lord will give strength to his people. The Lord will bless his people with peace. Well, tomorrow, a love begins to blossom and a princess grows in faith. That's part 2 of our series on Pocahontas. That's Tuesday on the 700 Club. For our dear sister Terry and Wendy and all the rest of our staff, this is Pat Robertson, and Lord willing, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.